Hello, Robbie here from Save Stores, and I am so excited. For the first time in the history of Bernina, they announced a new product, a new machine, and they actually sent it to us right away. So if you haven't heard, Bernina released the 790 Pro, and what this is kind of an all-new machine on an old chassis. And what's really cool is they took parts from other machines that they've had and some new technology and really made a new class of sewing machines. So what the 790 Pro truly is a tabletop long arm for the first time. And why this is they now read the long arm files. So in the past we had to do embroidery files, and they contain every single needle spot that machine makes. So the reason for that is so that you can make that same design on different machines and it looks the exact same. Well, quilters, we're just following a line, and what embroidery or long arm files use is a path. So they now allow us to do things to that path, and I'll explain that here in a minute. But they've done some amazing things on this machine. I just want to take a couple minutes of your time to walk you through some of these new groundbreaking features that make this machine so amazing. But before I do that, I want to tell you to like and share, get this email out to as many people as you can. But the other thing is, if you have any questions about this machine, I want you to call 503-775-7283 or visit us at 67th and Foster in good old tax-free Oregon. Or you can click the link to learn more about this machine, and you can tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll reach back out to you and make sure that you're getting the best deal. But right now, on any pre-order that on the 790 Pro from Bernina, they're giving a $2,400 value of freebies, and it is awesome. It contains luggage, it contains a maxi hoop, it contains a 7 series core skills class, and a Bernina embroidery bundle that has a bunch of stabilizer, a bunch of threads, some embroidery tape, a bunch of designs. It's got a ton of things, but what I love about this bundle, can you see that?
Yes.
Is that everything are things that people use. Like, who wouldn't want more stabilizer? Who wouldn't want more thread? I mean, all the colors, you could have every color in the world, you still want more. So they're giving you all the cool stuff. So this is an awesome bundle that's being thrown in for free on their pre-order. So how does the pre-order work? So I don't want you to pay for the machine up front, because honestly, I don't quite know when I'm gonna get them. Bernina says one thing, but they're Swiss. They make great watches. They just can't read them. So I don't want to commit to any time frame when they're coming, because I know Bernina and it's probably going to be wrong. So all I'm doing is a 20% deposit down, and then once we get word that your machine is in Chicago, which is where Bernina of America is, we'll have you come in, pay the rest off, and then you should have your machine within about a week. So really simple process, but I really would encourage you to come in and sew on this machine. It is smoother, it is quieter, it is more amazing than I can even explain over a camera. And once you put your hands on it, you'll understand why Bernina's saying is nothing sews like a Bernina, nothing. And for those of you that have a Bernina, you're gonna feel very familiar on this machine, because they haven't changed a whole lot as far as the aesthetics and how the machine functions. But inside, they made some massive improvements to make it a totally different machine. So this doesn't sew like any other Bernina 7 series ever made. It has features that haven't ever been seen before on a Bernina or any other machine for that matter. So we're gonna jump over here, and I'm in my Bernina mode, my quilting mode. So if we're on camera 3, we have our designs here, and we can scroll through, and they got them all broken up into different categories. But one of the things that I truly love about this is I can open up number 2. These are quilt files, and they say BQM on them, and what that means is Bernina Q-matic, and that's Bernina's long arm, their big long arm, the full frame machine. So this reads actual long arm files, and I'll tell you what's cool about that. Is I can come in here into my settings, I can go into my settings here, and I have a quilt button, and I can change my stitches per inch for any of my quilt patterns. and I can do them really, really tight. If I had really big circles and I needed it to be perfect, I don't know why anybody would ever go 24 stitches per inch, but you can do it. You can go all the way down here to basically what essentially is a basting stitch. Or you can reset it and do 10 stitches per inch. I say typically long armors are somewhere between 9 and 12, 10 and 12, 11, somewhere in there. But the neat thing is we get to control this. And the reason is when we go into these files here, it's actually a path. So let me go back in. We'll open up. I'll show you these files. So there's a bunch of them. There's 8 pages of quilt patterns. And these are all with the Q-matic. You can also pull in new ones from a stick, and if you happen to have the Bernina long arm, you have access to, a ton of files, which is awesome. So I'm going to do actually something that's on the first page, and I'll just tell you why. So we'll go back here to page 1. And this one here goes right into the points. So it's going to be a great way for me to show you how we can do something. So they have a brand new feature on this called Precise Placement 2. And what that means is we can do something that no other machine is able to do. We can come in here and we can actually do what the long armors call morph to fit. And I can actually shrink the design in automatically to be the right size, rotated, and resized and recalibrated to fit whatever block I want. So we're going to start here with this one. And if we go back here to number 1, I have a laser light on this machine. You will see it in a minute. And I'm going to bring it over here. Can you see that laser? No? Oh, darn it. Now? Yes. Okay. So this has a laser, and my quilt is so big it's getting in the way here. So I'll turn the laser off, I'll turn it on so you can see where it's at. And it is showing exactly where my needle's going to go. And if we go back here to my screen, all I'm doing is I'm dragging this over to the spot where it needs to line up. And then I touch my next square, and I do the same thing again. And it's actually rotating and resizing my pattern as I do this. And I don't need to hit set. I don't need to hit any extra buttons. I don't need to recalibrate it. And remember, we set our stitches per inch. So even though I'm taking what would be about an 8-inch design and I'm shrinking it down to, Jimmy would know, this is for his dog Buddy. This is Buddy's quilt. But I believe this looks like a 4-inch block. I'm literally cutting this in half. It's automatically taking out all those stitches that don't need to be there. So now all I do is close out. I hit my little sew button and it's ready to go. So are we ready to quilt this? Yes. Okay. I'm going to show you something here first. If you want to come back over here. They added something incredible on this machine, which is a needle threader. And I know some of us are going, ooh. Well, I'm being serious here. This is amazing. This is the best needle threader on the market, and I want to tell you why. First off, you push a button, it does the whole thing. Second, the little part that threads the needle is on a little floating hook. So it'll actually move itself a little bit to line up. So if for some reason your needle's bent and you didn't notice it, you're not going to damage the needle threader. So it's going to have a lot more longevity. It also has a clutch in it. So what I'm going to do is push this button, and then we're going to jump to the other camera so you can see it thread. So I'm going to push this, and then it threaded. How awesome is that? Get out of town, Robbie. I know, it is so cool. So now we're going to quilt, and this machine is going to blow your mind. We'll let it, oh, we got to tell it what we have here. So tell it we've got our straight stitch. We will tell it we have our embroidery foot, and now it will sew. So while this is quilting, I want to tell you some of the things that are awesome about this machine is now we have a true tabletop long arm. We can fit any of those shapes, any of those quilt files to any of our blocks, and it's going to automatically size, but more importantly, keep them consistent. So as you jump around your quilt, you might find you've got different block shapes, different block sizes. This doesn't matter. It's going to change the shape, morph it to fit whatever block size you give it, but it's going to keep that stitch absolutely consistent, and that's so important, and that's what long arm machines do. So Bernina, on their long arm, took all the features of the home machine that we love, like a needle threader, auto tension, the ability to raise and lower your presser foot, a front hand wheel, different programmable settings, all kinds of things that we take for granted on the home side that didn't exist in the long arm world. Well, now they've come full circle and taken the features that were in their long arm that really separate that as a commercial machine down to the home, and they brought it back to the 790 Pro. So I don't care what brand you have. We do demos and we call them tabletop long arms, and they absolutely are. But this treats it differently because it actually does stuff in a different way than how we'd normally do it. This new arm that they have actually is 60% faster than their old embroidery arms. Now get this, the 790 Pro is 33% faster even with that old arm than the 790 Plus. And the reason is they have an upgraded processor here, so it can send more data faster to the arm. The hook down below, I'm going to show you here in a minute, is balanced so that it runs a lot smoother and faster. So we're going to be able to accomplish more in the same amount of time. They improved the thread path. They improved the threading. They improved everything about this machine. When Bernina looked at this, they said, how can we make this better? And they went and looked at everything, and it's all been adjusted. So let me show you here. We're done with our block. It took absolutely no time. If we come over here, it's telling me, do I want to do another one, repeat, or do I want to stop and be done? I want to stop and be done. Now, if we look over here on the side, I didn't point this out before I started. I was so excited to get it going. But we have a new quilt button here. So for those of you that have a 7 series, particularly 790 or 790 Plus or 780, you have options here. This is a brand new one, and I'm going to show you a feature for those of you that don't know. I love this about Bernina. I have a question mark, and I can touch anything on the screen and it'll tell me what it does. This is our quilt settings. So with a touch of a button, it turns off our securing stitches, which we don't want as a quilter. It turns off our thread cut, which we don't want as a quilter, and the thread away function where the machine kind of does a jog after it cuts. It turns all those off because as a quilter, we want to be able to pull our threads up. We want to be able to do things more like we would on a long arm, and that's another feature. Now let's say I wanted the thread away, I wanted the cut, I wanted all those. Just turn it off and it'll sew it like any other embroidery stitch, which is super awesome. So they've really done a lot of easy things on this. So we can see here, if we come over here, we're done here. So I will pull this off, and I've got scissors hidden down here, and I will cut my threads. Thank you, buddy. We're one block closer to having our top done here, which is awesome. Oops, get your thread cut. And I'll get this off. Now, if we can go to camera 1, can you see our block there? It's exactly where it needs to be, right in the middle. Super awesome. And it was hooped horribly, like a diamond, and it was a square design. It solved it for me, that easy. Absolutely love it. Now, Bernina has another trick up its sleeve. So for those of you that are Bernina owners, you know that their embroidery machines are capable of doing free arm embroidery. And I can slide this over, actually. And with the embroidery arm on, I can do freehand embroidery and put something over. And they actually have a hoop here. Can you see that? Yes. Which is made for the free arm embroidery and allows you to do bags and other ready-made stuff. So great for Etsy setup. Where you can do things that are already made and do embellishments and all kinds of fun things. So remember I was talking about the hook and the bobbin and all this stuff. So one of the unique things about Bernina is while you're in embroidery, I don't have to take the hoop off to change my bobbin. I can just flip my door down, reach underneath, and pull it out. And I want to tell you right now, this bobbin is something, it's amazing. It is huge. So that bobbin holds almost twice as much thread as any other bobbin on the market. I'm going to pull out the guts here, and I want to show you, for those of you that are 7 series owners, you'll notice half the hook is metal. So what Bernina did was they kind of looked at this like your car wheel, your tire, where they all get balanced. They balance the hook because this is something that spins around at about 2,000 RPM. They now balanced it so that it runs a lot smoother. It's going to create less wear and tear down in the machine. And it goes in a lot easier as well, which I absolutely love. We do have a light down here. So the bobbin area is lit, which is super cool. And then the bobbin goes in super easy. All we do is pop our bobbin in, catch our little groove, snap it up, and then put her in. How cool is that? And then push her in, and then I'm gonna cut her, close my door. So now we're gonna go in, and I wanna show you something that Bernina is famous for. So this is truly a long arm quilting paradise machine. It is so amazing. So we have a foot here called the BSR, and it's the Bernina stitch regulator. And I'm gonna pop her on here, and then I'm gonna plug her in. Here, there we go. I'm gonna drop our feed dogs. And I want to show you what a stitch regulator does. And then I want to show you what's added to this one. So remember, we're kind of bringing some of those quilt features down from their long arm that we didn't have before. So I'm going to pull my bobbin up just like we would on any long arm. And I have some different modes here on the screen. So if you want to jump over here, and I can do a straight stitch or a zigzag, and I can adjust the width of my zigzag or not. Oops, well, I got to get out of a straight stitch plate, so let me put it on my 9mm. So I can do a wide zigzag, narrow zigzag. So this would be great for thread painting. I can tighten her down and do like freehand applique if I wanted to do that. It's got some really neat features here that make it very, very useful, but we're not here to do that today. We're going to do quilting. And I can change my stitch length to be whatever stitch length that I want. And then I have mode 1, which always sews, and I'll show you that here. So if we jump over here, I'm going to start going. And as I move it, it moves. I move it faster. It moves faster. I move it slower, and it moves slower. But when I stop, it always sews. So what does this do? So if I want to tie off at each end, I can just start it and not move it. Also, if I'm kind of herky-jerky, because the machine never fully stops, it's always ready and in that mode to sew. So it seems to pick up a little bit quicker. Mode 2 is awesome if you're doing ruler work or anything like that and you want to try and keep it even. We can jump in here, and when I stop, it stops. When I move, it moves. And it keeps all of my stitches even for me, which is really cool. So this is a unique feature that Bernina has. They're the only ones that have an integrated stitch regulator. This is the only thing that's going to give you absolute confidence to start jumping in on your own quilts and doing free motion on your own. But I got to tell you, they took this one step further, and this is awesome. This will pay for the machine all by itself. We have BSR mode 3, and this is straight out of their long arm, the Q series. They have 2 stitches per inch, which is a 1/2 inch stitch, and they have 4, which is a 1/4 inch stitch. So I'm going to do the 1/2. And I'm going to have you jump over here, Myra. And all this is a basting stitch. And it will baste for me. So I can baste my quilts this easy. And if I want to do it at 4 stitches per inch, and remember I said you could pay for this machine with this feature? If you charge your friends, or if you thought, would I pay $25 for someone to pin my quilts for me? I think that would be a fair price. And the cool thing about this is we're pinning with thread, so you can sew over this. All you do are straight lines about every 6 inches. You put your hand down, you should have one about every handprint. So if that's 6, 7, 8 inches, just do a straight row across, and you basically collect 25 bucks, and off you go. How cool is that? I can get my scissors. They work a lot faster on this machine. The presser foot lifter is quicker, which is nice, and it cut my stitches. Now this is why people say, why do I buy a Bernina? Why do I buy a Bernina? Look at that. White thread, black thread. Look at that balance. It is amazing how good this machine is with its tension. It is flawless. Now we're going to jump in, and I'm going to show you what I like about Berninas. So we're going to jump in. We're going to put a foot on. I don't know if you've watched. I've been taking feet on and off. They just go on with these little crystals, and they make it super easy. They have a little switch. Pops on, pops off. And I'm going to do a jean seam here. And one thing that's unique about this machine is it has an automatic walking foot built into it. So it's super easy for me to make adjustments. I'm going to sew down my jean seam here. And then I'm going to do it like Levi's does. And I'm going to do a double stitch here. It's so straight. It is so smooth with that new balanced hook. It is amazing. This is what it should have been from day one. But they didn't have this technology back then. So you probably can't see it. You can see it right there. There's my jean seam. So now I'm going to hem that. So we would fold it and then fold it again. And I got to tell you what I love about Bernina. They have a true industrial quick reverse. And what does that mean? That means when I put the foot down, it's going to go forward, backwards, right up and over our jean seam. I hit reverse, and it starts and stops within a stitch. It is awesome, super responsive. For those of you that have a Bernina, you're used to this. For those of you that don't, you're going to see what you're missing out on. And that easy, we went right up and over that jean seam, absolutely no struggle. Now I want to show you one of these cool features about this new machine with its laser light. What makes this unique? I'm going to put on an open toe foot. And thus far, I haven't really been playing with our laser that much, but I'll show you here. So I can take this, and these are the two worst fabrics, and you would probably never in a million years want to applique this together. But I'm going to show you how this works. So we can jump in here, and I can pull up our blanket stitch. And I have the ability to move this left, and I can move it right. The thing is I can put this anywhere under the foot, and that laser light lines up with it. So if you come over here, Myra, can you see as I move the needle, that laser light moves with it. Now because it's attached to the needle, as I sew, that laser light moves with that needle. So as I come over here, and I start sewing down the edge of my fabric here, you can see how that laser is actually following that stitch. Now let's say I want to make this wider, and I want it to bite even more. I can see that all in real time right on my fabric. Now what's so cool is there's our applique, and it is exactly on the edge. Can you see that, Myra?
Yes.
It is perfect. Would you say that's perfect? Mm-hmm. That is perfect. Now what I want to show you what is really perfect. You ready for this? There's the back. It looks exactly like the front. So when people say, what is Swiss precision? What is Bernina excellence? What Stitch Precision 2 is this machine has a myriad of features and things that come together all at once that make this stitch so perfect. And what it is you've got active tension control, which means this machine can adjust its tension 1,000 times a minute. Every single stitch can have a different tension setting, which is absolutely amazing. And why this is important is as your machine's sewing on this side and then it sews over here, the thread's getting pulled at slightly different ways. It can actually pull different. Other machines, you put them at 4, you put them at 5, you put them wherever, and it stays at that number as it sews. So you're kind of splitting hairs to make it kind of good. Bernina doesn't believe that's good enough. They want it perfect. So they allow it to actually have different tensions as they go, and I I pity the person in Switzerland who had to sit there and sew every stitch and figure out the right stitch setting for every single needle position, because that must have been a pain. But you know what? You don't have to do it. They already did it for you. So this machine is going to sew every single stitch absolutely perfect every single time, and you don't have to think about it. They also have what's called a hopper foot, and I want to put on a foot here, and I want to show you how this works. So I'm going to pull this needle out of the way. I'll unthread it. Well, we'll just hold it up there. We'll do it with our embroidery foot. So when I put this foot on, and I'm going to go back to our straight stitch, because last thing I want to do is hit our needle. So when the way Swiss precision works is our foot is up. When the needle comes down, the foot comes down. Can you see the foot drop down? When the needle comes up, that foot stays down because the stitch isn't formed yet. When the stitch is formed, then the foot comes up and it hops. So I'm going to sew here really slow, and you can see that foot hop. It's hopping as we sew. So whenever you have a foot on there, it's actually putting pressure and relieving pressure as we sew. And if I put it down, can you see that cone there? Can you see my finger? Barely. Well, let's get our needle out of the way here. My finger's bouncing. Can you see that, Myra? That's what your foot attaches to. So it's actually moving on every single foot as we sew here. And it's putting pressure and relieving it so that the stitch is fully held in place until it's formed. I love this threader. So easy. Works every single time. So I want to tell you right now is the best time to upgrade your machine. Whenever Bernina comes out with a new one, and I have to tell you, in the past, years past, I would say it's maybe not the smartest idea to be a guinea pig for a Bernina, but I'll tell you, I don't mean that in a negative way. People want to upgrade and be the first and the best on the market to have a new machine. But in the past, Bernina's machines were awesome, but they always had a couple mechanical changes that they made. Now, I will tell you, they fixed them, and they were free of charge for anybody that has old parts in their machine, and they came out with a new one. They cover the cost to upgrade it so that it's free of charge for you. So that part is good. But I got to tell you, with the 790 Pro, there's no new parts on this. They took things from other machines. So you are not the guinea pig. This machine is ready to rock right out of the box. And I will tell you, I was a little late to the Bernina Q series because I was worried that they came out with this new long arm and it had a bunch of new first. And it dawned on me, all of these are parts that they took from other machines that they already make, and they brought it to just a big long arm. So they weren't reinventing the wheel as far as parts, they were just reinventing the wheel as far as the entire industry. Well, now they're doing that again. So the 790 Pro is the first true tabletop long arm. It reads long arm files, it follows the path, and it allows you to set your exact stitches per inch. It has laser accurate positioning. So you now know exactly where that design is going, but all in one step. It's going to move it, it's going to rotate it, it's going to resize it, then it's going to redigitize it to your stitches per inch setting. Then, before you sew it out, you have the ability to get rid of all those embroidery features, like the scissors, like the tie-offs, like the thread away, that normally when you're in embroidery you want. As a quilter, you do not want those. With a push of a button, they're deactivated, so they really thought this through. So right now, with a 20% down deposit, we'll put you in line to get the new machine. You'll get the pre-order bundle as long as Bernina has them. Then when the machine gets to Chicago and we get word that they're here, we'll have you come in, we'll fill out whatever financing you're doing or charge your card or however you're paying for it. Then the machine will come in and you're ready to rock. In the meantime, you're welcome to come in and play on our floor model. We've got a bunch of stuff. They're going to have an awesome course that's coming out with these machines that's really going to help get you the most out of the 7 series. You're going to get our free lifetime classes, our free virtual support. You're going to get our free in-store support. You're going to get our full communications package. You're going to get your first year service for free. You're going to get a free extended warranty on this machine. So free of charge, we extend the standard factory warranty from Bernina to include labor on all covered parts. And I'll make it simple. If Bernina's going to back the part, we're going to back the labor. So forget about your 1-year labor warranty. It's extended for the full factory warranty, all free of charge. So right now, is the time to upgrade to the new Bernina 790 Pro. It truly is a new machine. It's got so many groundbreaking features that no other machine has, and it's so easy to use. So finally, this is a Bernina for all. It's the one Bernina to rule them all. But if you have any questions, call 503-775-7283. I really want to thank you for taking the time to walk through this with me. There are so many other features I didn't talk about, but I just wanted to hit a couple of the highlights and things that I noticed in about 20 minutes of playing on it that really came home to me why this machine is so special. So I really think that if you are in the market for a new machine or thinking in the next year you might want to upgrade, you might want to think twice, wait right now, get it now, buy it now, and you're absolutely going to get the best deal. We'll take trades. We've got a good deal going, but call 503-775-7283 or visit us at 6701 Southeast Foster Road in good old tax-free Portland, Oregon. Or you can click the Learn More button down below and tell us a little bit about you, so when we call you, we kind of know what you're sewing, what kind of projects you do, how often you sew, and more importantly, do you sew for fun? That's the one I love, because that's what we do. You know, people ask, what do? You sell sewing machines? No, I sell Harleys to women. So this is a fun thing for us to all play on, and I want to tell you, you will get so much more out of the 790 Pro than you would out of any other Bernina made, and it's just such a easy to use machine. So I want to thank you again for watching this. Remember to like and share. It really helps us out, and I want to say I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.